Okay, so I want to get Heidi in here. President Trump, who's currently stonewalling Congress on information related to the Russia probe, is ordering U.S. intelligence agencies to tell the Justice Department everything they know. Last night, Trump gave Attorney General William Barr sweeping new authorities to conduct a review of the Russia probe, directing the CIA and 15 other intelligence agencies to cooperate with the review, granting Barr the authority to unilaterally declassify documents. The move came hours after Trump once again declared that those who led the investigation committed, get this, treason.
Sir, the Constitution says treason is punishable by death. You've accused your adversaries of treason. Who specifically are you accusing of treason?
Well, I think a number of people, and I think what you look is that they have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person. If you look at Comey, if you look at McCabe, if you look at probably people higher than that, if you look at Strzok, if you look at his lover, Lisa Page, his wonderful lover, the two lovers, they talked openly. You know, they didn't use their private server because they didn't want to get caught, so they used the government server. That was not a good move. He talked about the insurance policy just in case crooked Hillary loses, and that didn't work out too well for them. So you look at them, they want an insurance policy so that should she, for any reason, lose, remember, 100 million to 1. Maybe he said 100 million to nothing. But should she lose, we'll have an insurance policy and we'll get this guy out of office. And that's what they said, and that's what they meant. That's treason. That's treason. They couldn't win the election, and that's what happened. And that's what's happening right now, because without the treason word, I guess, but that's what's happening now. They don't feel they can win the election, so they're trying to do the 1,000 stabs. Keep stabbing. Let's have a financial. Let's have. And if you look, for $40 million, I would think seriously that Bob Mueller and his group of 18 killers have gone over my taxes. They've gone over my financial statements to a level that nobody has gone over them before. And they were not discussed even. They weren't even discussed or brought up. I have great statements.
Donald is obviously melting down. It must be those court rulings, those federal court rulings that are requiring that they turn over the documents to the House. But there's no doubt that he's every bit as unhinged as he was during the heat of the Mueller investigation. Nick Confessori, though, you know, we've been talking about, Meek and I, about how this guy is an autocrat in training. We yesterday had Donald Trump talking about charging a former FBI director with treason, and when told that that could lead to his death and lead to these other FBI agents' death, executions, said yeah, and he just kept going. So this is what an autocrat does. He, even after the elections are over, he goes back and tries to punish those that he considers to be his political enemies. And if Donald Trump had his way, you just heard him, you know, they'd be executed.
Well, Joe, this is a watershed moment in a presidency full of them. And he has been calling for the prosecution of his opponents for months and months, years now. He's finally getting what he wanted. What we now have here is the full weight of law enforcement of the U.S. government being deployed against the president's perceived enemies. That is a really big deal. And the guy who's in charge of the investigation is somebody who's already shown that he knows how to play an inside game in Washington to selectively describe classified material and you know, kind of paint a picture favorable to the president. This entire investigation is coming out of a fever swamp conspiracy about Peter Strzok. He was the guy who helped lead the investigation into Hillary Clinton's email server. In some ways, he's probably the best friend that Donald Trump ever had in Washington politically. And now he's being accused of treason. He was doing his job, and in fact, almost all of these guys were doing their jobs at the FBI, at Justice. They were all kind of authorized to do the work they were doing. It was not lawless. It's a strange thing to watch this investigation start.
Well, again, and William Barr is why he hasn't been impeached already by the House and convicted in the Senate for lying under oath, being caught lying under oath. This is a guy also that went on TV, had an interview, and actually had the nerve to lie about the beginning of the Mueller investigation, saying the president had every right to call it a witch hunt. He lied, saying that it started with the Steele dossier. He knows he's a liar. He knows he's lying to the American people when he says that. He knows he's a liar when he calls the Mueller investigation a witch hunt and says the president has a right to call it a witch hunt. We could go down the list of all the people who were indicted, the 199 charges, the people sitting in jail right now because of that investigation. We could talk about FISA judges who approved the warrants 4 times, Republican-appointed judges who agreed on the FISA warrants. Barr, unlike Donald Trump, cannot plead ignorance. Donald Trump is a truly ignorant man when it comes to the law, when it comes to the government, when it comes to the U.S. Constitution, when it comes to procedure. William Barr knows exactly what he's doing, and he is the guy who's now going through the government, conducting a witch hunt. And Heidi, again, a witch hunt where Donald Trump is talking about treason and the possible execution of an FBI director and FBI agents who, and again, I know this doesn't matter to a lot of Donald Trump supporters because a lot would prefer to be ignorant than to know the truth. But I'm going to tell them the truth if maybe they're listening or if they watch this on the YouTube channel. It was Comey that elected Donald Trump. It was Peter Strzok and the Hillary Clinton email investigation that elected Donald Trump. Vladimir Putin did not elect Donald Trump. It was Jim Comey 10 days before the election that did that. And that's who he wants to convict for treason and possibly execute.
And you can see that in the numbers, Joe. We saw that from Nate Cohn and other statisticians who showed that the numbers actually moved in those late moments when the report came out or when Comey made his statements. But we're entering into a new chapter here, Joe, of misrepresenting the Mueller report. And it's dangerous for Democrats because we still haven't heard from Mueller. It appears now that the president is giving Barr, who's shown every indication that he's willing to go along with the president here in his misrepresentation of declassifying materials that are favorable to the president while holding back still the actual classified materials in the Mueller report itself, which Congress is still in a knockdown, drag-out fight with Barr over declassifying. And now you combine this with the news from last night from House Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler that Mueller is likely to only testify behind closed doors. You see here where this campaign of misrepresenting the report is picking up speed in a way that is actually dangerous in terms of sources and methods as well. If Barr is now going to be declassifying information that could be really harmful to some of the people who were cooperating to help get this information before the American people.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.